Hello and welcome to another post-match live stream of Talking the Facts of Life, proudly sponsored by Eclipse Energy. Go to
Eclipse Energy.
It's our subdued call and delivery. Yeah, my name is Mike Haig, and joining me is, as always, is another rather disconsolate, disappointed Rick Farrell. I would say, how are you doing? But that would be the most stupid question ever asked.
My head's cold because my hair's gone.
Yeah, same with mine. See, we thought we'd be having a celebratory live stream. We both had his hair cut for the occasion, all that sort of stuff. But no, it wasn't to be. Defeat to our nearest and dearest rivals. Yeah, let's get straight into it, shall we? Let's try and dissect that performance. Those who are watching, please comment. Please say how you feel. Try not to make it too personal for the players, because I'm sure they will be hurting as well. Yeah, let's make sure not just talking to ourselves. And again, sorry, it is working because I done before. And sorry, was Rick has commitments to fulfill. And he was doing that, so just blame him. blame him, blame the club, whoever you want to play. Blame
right,
him, yeah.
That's the stream, good night, everyone.
Never. Yes. I've got some laughs sometimes. But yeah, a short one because what time it is. People are probably watching Line of Duty, aren't they, or whatever. But hey ho, need some cheering up after the performance. Yeah, 27-26 defeat from the jaws of victory, whichever way you want to say it. It was a very, very, very disappointing result. After it started so well, I can't start a derby game so well, but it's like, I don't know about you, Rick, but I always have a nagging feeling whenever we play Bradford that they're going to come back. They always come back, and they did today.
They sort of did to us what we've done to them numerous of times when we've had Scott Burrell, haven't we? It's sort of, they took an early lead and then we lured them into a false sense of security and nicked it there. So they kind of did our trick to us, which was a bit disappointing. Yeah. But we showed enough on the face of it. I think the forwards maybe lacked a little bit. But on the face of it, it's disappointing, isn't it?
It's just very, very disappointing. Chris Kirsch has commented straight away. Thanks for joining us, Chris, today. But interesting results across other fixtures, long season ahead. Yeah, it's exactly the point I was going to make, because you look at the results from this weekend. We've always said through the radio show and the podcast and stuff that the Championship is bonkers. Regardless, it's a bonkers league for the results it throws up. Before a ball was even kicked, it was going to be an open game. We've said before, it's probably the most competitive Championship there has been in years. Throw into the mix the results that have happened, not just this weekend, but last couple of weekends. Who would have thought that Sheffield would demolish Bradford and then go to York to win? It puts our result today in some perspective, because excuse me, it just means that anyone can beat anyone. And Dewsbury go to Widnes and win. Whitehaven beat Newcastle. It's a very open season, and teams will beat other teams, and it's going to be very, very close. Yes, today's a disappointing result, but it's early on. I'm going to use that phrase again. It's a learning curve. We can't have too many of them because we're going to be learning and losing all season. But it could stand us in good stead. Obviously, people are very, very emotional. They have every right to be emotional. I'm emotional. I felt so numb for about half an hour after the game, because I thought we had the game in the bag, scratching my head of how we managed to lose that game. But that's rugby league, and when you do play against a side that were hurting from the performance against Sheffield, who obviously had a point to prove, coupled with the fact they're being steered around by a very old, wise head, and a fairly young head, but's got plenty of experience there. The Bradford do what Bradford do. Danny Brough and John Lilly do what they do, and yeah, this is disappointing defeat. Have you got anything to add to all, Rick?
Not particularly, mate. There's not much to say after a derby.
Use numbers, me.
Other than it's sort of following patterns of other successful seasons we've had where when was the last time we won his first 2 games? I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. I know Grix used a very well-worn saying, we can't peak too early.
Ding.
Possibly right. Yeah, it's one for cliche bingo. But yeah, and I think it was Ed Barr who said if we lose today, the London game matters not really, and it has come to pass. A team selection was obviously going to be a contentious issue, and James Marsden, although I said he wasn't going to join us, thanks for joining us, James, has mentioned one straight off the bat, Amir Borough, not Amir Bruff, that the team like to say. I thought he completely changed the game when he came on. I thought he had an outstanding game. He was one of the very few players who could come out of that game with a clean bill of health, so to speak. I don't think he deserves to be on the losing side at all. And yeah, very much so. And Chris Kirsch has said again, the team today was a different team to the London game, different dynamic. Now, this is a question I'll ask you, and no doubt people are saying in the houses all across the world. What with Grix, with Grix's selection today, and again, it's an embarrassment of riches with Rawsthorne and Worthington coming back into the team. When you've got, I know Championship players don't have marquee players, but if we did, Worthington and Rawsthorne would be our marquee players. Do you put them, and especially Worthington, who hasn't played at all, do you put them straight into the team? Like, obviously, Rawsthorne coming in was because McGrath was injured. Like I said last time, I thought Barber and McComb were 2 of our best players. Do you take out them out of the rhythm of the team, or do you put them in? Now, Rawsthorne and Worthington, in my opinion, were very disappointing today. And they'll know it as well. They didn't play to the potential. Worthington did look tired, but come the third quarter. But again, he is going to be, because he's played no rugby and that sort of thing. What would you have done? $1 million question, mate. What would you have done? Would you have kept the faith with the team with the back line that did play well against London, or would you have kept the faith? Really,
it's a tough one, isn't it? Because that combination was so fruitful when they played together before that for that to become, something good for us, a golden partnership. It needs to be tested. It needs to be put in. The time needs to be put in for that combination to come back again. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to hold them back for the sake of it, or are you going to give them that time early to try and make the combination fire? Yeah, it didn't work today, but who's to say it don't work against Toulouse next week? So, rusty.
Very much so. It'll be the most Halifax thing.
I thought Worthington's defence was really good. I thought he showed up really well for the lads in defence.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd go with that. Yeah, I think they only scored 1 try down our right, and that was for a breakaway from a great offload by Spur, who I thought was Bradford's best player today. So I thought it was outstanding today. But yeah, I kind of agree. Like, if you sign Worthington and Rawsthorne, you've got to play them. You've got to get them. You've got to get them going. I'm normally a big believer in you playing players on form, and you do. I'd have kept Barber on the bench. I'd have kept Barber in the centre and have McComb coming off the bench, really, because he'd have injected a bit more pace than Barber. I think Barber can do things. He's got a lot more experience than McComb and can inject himself into a game a lot quicker. But as I said, that's why Simon Grix is our coach, and obviously he'll be learning about our players because of the limited pre-season that we've had, limited games that we've had, and that sort of thing. It will come. Worthington and Rawsthorne are 2 good players not to come good, and it's just disappointing, really. Anthony Hildred, thank you very much for joining us. And he raised very, very good points that I wanted to kind of say when we had people coming on, and we have got quite a lot of people watching, actually, which is great. The thing that I'm paraphrasing because I think the autocorrect's gone a bit mental on there. He thinks that the captain's armband is on the wrong player to... he seems to think that the captain's armband is on the wrong player, to be honest. Now, I and we mentioned this when Brandon Moore got announced as captain. Now, is Brandon Moore a fantastic player? Yes, he's one of the best players in the championship. Is he a captain? Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet at all. What Halifax need in that last, well, you could say 60 minutes, because after the first 20 minutes, we just needed someone just to calm us down, go through a sets and processes and take the game by the scruff of the neck and do, right, let's not do anything stupid. Let's just play rugby to our strengths and go through it. But obviously that didn't happen. You could point fingers at the halfbacks. You could point fingers at anyone really, but there just didn't seem to be that one person to bring it all together. I don't know. It's very hard not being there, and the Ali cameras aren't necessarily great in kind of doing that, especially when they focus on Bradford most of the time. But it's difficult. What do you reckon? He's come back to us and say the voice on that pitch today was Robinson. Well, to me, Rob Robinson didn't have a bad game, did Robinson? I'll qualify this straight away. He didn't have a bad game at all. What the game needed today was either him or Harris being halfbacks, deciding between them, one being the dominant person, the dominant voice. Right, we're doing it this way. It just seemed a little bit hodgepodge. I don't know if you'd agree with that at all.
Oh, I think the biggest problem for today, and I'm going to start a petition for it, any team that doesn't have a pitch that is 100 metres in length cannot play in the league. I mean, most people used to complain, didn't they, about playing on a plastic pitch or whatever. That's the menace of the league.
Yeah.
None of these slopes at Batley on them, at least it's 100 metres. Before you know it, you're on the back foot defensively. They've gone 60 metres and they're only 5 metres from your line. It's just bonkers. Yeah. Makes for absolutely insane games.
Of course, and today was a great game. If you were neutral watching that game, you're getting spoiled. They were great.
4 Simeons.
Yeah, exactly. Going on to that point, segueing on to that, I thought the referee had a poor game. Yeah, I thought the referee had a poor game today. And I'm not going to say that it cost us the game, because he didn't. He don't miss tackles. He don't make poor decisions with the ball. It was poor for both sides, and it just completely wrecked the flow of the game. Now, it's all fair and well, and again, this is my opinion. It's all fair and well making him out of curl, and he did. He sin bin Bradford plays, he sin bin Salty. Salty was absolutely stupid, but he let stuff go.
He were giving penalties back to back for infringement to say, down the law, this is what I'm looking for.
We had loads of penalties. Yeah. We something like 6-0 up and penalties in first 10 minutes. Something daft. Yeah, absolutely daft. And we could and should have made more of that. I think for Halifax to have a good game at the moment, we just need the game to flow. The London game flowed so nicely, and we were dominating there. A stop-start game played right into Bradford's hands. It plays right into Danny Proff's hands, and he just took that game on. And a wise old head is one there. Not that I'm saying straight away that Morel should come back, but we just missed that with that composure, leadership, and direction that an experienced halfback gives. Now, as I say, Robinson and Harris are two exciting halfbacks. I'm so glad that they are playing for us. Proof in the pudding that they dominated London. They were absolutely great. They can't just be ace one week and rubbish the next week. They weren't. Neither of them had bad games. It's just that he just needed one of them just grab the game by the scruff of the neck and show that little bit of leadership and direction which that game needed. Bradford had that. They had two generals in Brough and Lilly. So it's just very, very disappointing. I'll get through more comments because loads are coming, Rick. I'm not trying to stifle your input here.
Hey, it's your show, point of
this, like you said last week, it's for the comments to come in. It's our show, don't start on that one. I had also, by the way, me and Rick would have been absolutely terrible at commentary today. I would have been taken off air with 5 minutes gone with the amount of expletives that have come out of my mouth. But hey ho. Right, so let's get through these. Gophers, thanks for joining us again. Good game, wrong result. Yeah, I say I don't. I describe that as a game that neither team probably deserved to win, but I think a draw would have been a fair result because you can very well say that Halifax should have made the most of a 14-point head start and the penalties that had it, but then Bradford had a load of penalties come back to them and so on and so forth, and we had too many in the bin. It was the game was all over the place really, but it made it exciting.
And once they recovered from it, they got on top of us, and we just didn't have anything in reserve. We managed to fight ahead. And did you ever feel after that first try in the second half that we were going to win that game? I never got that feeling.
No, but we when Leroy scored, when we scored to take the lead, I thought, right, that's it. That's game over now. Let's control the game now. But then obviously,
in a regular game with a full-size pitch, you can sort of absorb a bit more of that pressure in terms of like field position more than you can at Dewsbury, when all of a sudden, like I said again, before you know it, you've gone from attacking their line. The amount of times today that a team went from attacking one's line to conceding in one or two passes was bad.
Yeah, it's the same for both sides though. You can't make that excuse though. It's the same for both sides. But Bradford had that every time they scored as well, so you can't necessarily make that excuse. I get what you mean.
It's
but
easier for the home side.
It's same pitch for both sides.
It's their field, remember?
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, definitely. I noticed how Mick Glenn never said Tetley Stadium, Dewsbury. Just Tetley Stadium. Oh, where is Tetley Stadium? Anyway, speaking of commentary, Nathan. Nathan Swalbrick's got involved. He's got a few here, so I'll go through it. I think we missed Bob Fairbank. We definitely did. And again, he could have been the one to the leadership. He could have been the one to get us all together for that. And one thing that does come to that as well is Scott Griggs going off the pitch. Scott Griggs pulling his hamstring and leaving the field had a big impact because it meant we had to switch around. And again, he's a very experienced head who's probably one of the leaders of the team, and if he's off the pitch, then we lose a little of that structure. And fullback's that critical position on the field where he can see everything. He talks and can give that guidance there. So don't underestimate the effect that Scott Griggs going off had on that result, because it was massive. Because again, he had a great game. To Scott Griggs took his try really well, and by and large, had a great. I can't remember him putting a foot wrong or anything like that. So yeah, big miss was that.
Bomb, he made a bit of a meal of, and we got away with it. And I thought, after seeing that, I was like, oh god, not this again. But I thought he did really well up at so he had to go off.
Yeah, it was a shame we had to go off there. What else did he say? Get Tangata up the middle. Got Tangata up the middle. Tangata, Bob, and Cav back next week in the middles will make a big difference. Yeah,
Tangata.
Well.
Thought Hewitt was good.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, he'll come back as well. Kavanagh will Griggs throw him straight back. We don't know. Kavanagh, it depends which one comes up. If it's the one that's played for the last couple of years, then he's underwhelming. But we all know what the potential of Kavanagh. He's a fantastic player, but it gives us more options for sure. And it means that if you have a poor game, there's people coming in for that. So yeah, very good points there. Anthony Hildred goes a different way. Centre and wingers today was the problem. The pack had great hands and made the ground. I'll half disagree with you there, Anthony. I thought our left edge was poor. Ross Thorne and Worthington were very disappointed. I was so disappointed with them. Our right edge, I thought Salty was our man at match. Barry's trip, which did practically cost us the game. It was a stupid sin, but absolutely what was going through what was going on, I don't know. But Salty, apart from that, he took his try really well. He made great yards at the pitch. Yeah. I thought it was a great game. McCoon came with it well.
Bombs.
Yeah, definitely. And McComb did well as well. He had a decent game as well. Not as eye-catching as the London game, but no really an eye-catching game, the London game. But yeah, I'd half agree. I'd fit agree with Anthony. Who else has come on? He said as well, Springer should have jawed Fleming, just saying. Oh, damn Fleming. Made more yards and made more effort than he did 2 years playing for Halifax, playing for Bradford today. It's just very, very disappointing.
Remember his first game against Fev, he had a blinder.
He did, but then what went wrong after that? Hey ho. Yeah, very, very much so. Sean Ewell. He is. Sean Ewell, that's us. I think he means. I think he's on about Brandon Moore here. Not a captain. Came for 30 minutes for a 20-year-old. Wasn't needed again. Brandon, come on again. I think he just played more of a loose forward role like he's done before. There's plenty of captains who revolve on and off the pitch. I don't buy that argument really, but again, it's early days. It's early days. He's had 3 games. It's very early days, really.
How well did Leroy go?
Leroy, yeah, I'm about to mention him as well. Let's try and focus on some positivity. I thought Leroy and Saltonstall were my 2 men of the match. I thought Leroy tried great as well, and he was the one who was punching up the middle time after time after time. And yeah, he's probably been player of the season so far as Leroy, because he's just not had a bad game. He showed up well against Batley. He was one of the few to come out of the Batley game with some positives. London, he was great. And then today, I thought he had a great game as well. So yeah, good shout there, Eric. Goffers agrees that Ami had a good game. Stephen Robert Sharp, thanks for joining us again. Did Brandon Moore get injured? Don't know. He definitely came back on for last time. He took a hit up when we needed to shift the ball. But yeah, Amir was good. Yep, Amir Burr. He's obviously a Super League player, Wigan player. Wigan said straight off the bat the only reason we're loading to him because we value him so high. We want to play a full season of men's rugby to come back to us in a lot better shape, and he was great today. It's a shame for Curtis Davis because let's say we're big fans of Curtis Davis on here, but Amir Burr was class today. Anthony Hildred agrees. I mean, he's more game time. Stood out very well when he came on. There's people replying to different comments, which is great. Grixie made that call. Nathan. So Grixie made that call for Brandon Moore coming off for the Borough thing. I don't know. If you rotate hookers, modern rugby league, isn't it? Goffers, there we go. Yeah, exactly. I don't think you can complain about that. Goffers makes a good plan, and we'll have to kind of have to double check that. Commentators need to tell you that there's no golden point in our league. I didn't know. Is the golden point? I didn't think there was, but obviously, when you've got the game caller who's a Bradford specialist and Championship specialist, then obviously that's what he says. Jamie Ambler, thanks for joining us. Second half, rugby-wise, from us was poor, but the referee made questionable decisions that swung the game their way. We couldn't recover, frustrated. Yeah, I'd go along with a little bit like that. I definitely thought that Robinson was taken out late. That was a critical decision. Was he committed to the challenge after play? But it would have been a penalty for us to go in front. It was when we were 27-26. We were practically chasing the game from our time, weren't we? But so ball bounces though. That's the thing. It's a penalty where the ball bounces, and although it was committed to the tackle, it was his actual challenge which was poor. He attacked his standing leg, which is awful for a kicker. That's leg breaking stuff. Is that? So no, not good at all. But
got his head taken as well, where we had a man simming for exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As I say, I thought the referee had a poor game. Did we lose because the referee had a poor game? Referee was both sides. I thought some of the penalties that we were getting first half were were pretty harsh on Bradford. He didn't follow up. He didn't. I don't think he was. I don't think he was fair for both sides. I think he was poor for both sides and biased for both sides. It was just one of those. I just thought he had a really poor game. Chris Kirsch, he's one who can't get enough of us. Would you guys be willing to do a show pre-game also? I don't know. If the demand's there, maybe. I don't know. Rick, what say you?
It's all going to be great.
Yes, well, it'd just be famous last words, won't it? I think we're going to win. 18 minutes later. Facts losing it. No. If you all want us to do it, get behind us. But as I say, it's oversaturation, all that. Yeah. It could be oversaturation. Yeah, maybe. He also said he was laughing when they spoke about this. There must be golden point, which in that case, a draw would have been a very, very fair result, I thought. But hey ho. Sean Newell said, having played against Fleming, he's never had heart. Well, he's played Super League and played International, so he must have something about him. I just think he underwhelmed at Halifax. I just thought he didn't look fit. He didn't run his weight. I just thought it was for the player that he, as you mentioned, for the first games he played for us at Bash when him and Mitch Clark, like a personal battle. It was great, and then the autumn we played for Wales, and I think he was Wales Man of the Series in that European Championship. He was great, and then after that, he just was underwhelmed for me. He's not a bad player at all. No, he doesn't. And as I say, he's true. And I say he's not a bad player whatsoever because, as I say, he wouldn't have played at the clubs. He played if he wasn't a bad player, but he just didn't perform to the standard that we all expected him to perform at and what has performed for us. So yeah, very disappointing. Anthony Hildred again, link-up play that we have wanted for years. Once his work, plus also getting slide balls out from the back worked well. Some great balls picked up and out. Again, I think he's autocorrect's gone mental there. I think what he's saying is that the balls that we had and the ones that we had against London didn't necessarily work today. But again, Scott Grix was a big component of that. And him going off, we couldn't necessarily execute them the way they did. And also, Bradford were wise to it sometimes. You got to credit Bradford's defence in the way. I thought they defended. There was always going to be a reaction from Bradford because they were embarrassed against Sheffield. It was an embarrassing performance. I've watched the highlights back, and it wasn't a John Keir performance at all. And the first 20 minutes of today's game wasn't a John Keir performance either. But then obviously he's got Oldham at half time and given him the rats of the kitchen, as Ed Hemmings would say. And it obviously had an effect on him. And they defended like the lives depended on it, and you can't underestimate that. And as I say, he pains me to say, but Bradford did enough today. I still think a draw would have been a fair result, but it's one of those.
Set up for a derby, can you, where your rivals get absolutely pasted the week before, so they've got everything to prove.
If I was a Bradford fan today, I'd be. Go on.
Well, I want to ask everyone watching.
No, after you.
I don't know if anyone's worried or anything. Have you seen enough from the first two league games to prove to yourself that we'll make the top 4 or 5? Because even though we haven't...
Yeah, that's a very good question. Maybe that's a question we...
Making breaks. I watched Salford and Catalan the other day. Salford never looked like making a break, ever. You know, they didn't seem to have anything about
no,
them.
and that is
out, didn't you? Like, is it and that is a rich
being bad? Yeah, that is a rich
badly, we were still creating opportunities, and that is so encouraging so early in the season with such a new team.
Exactly, definitely. That was the weakness of Marshall as a coach. Really, he was absolutely brilliant up until the last 20 meters. The attacking 20 meters where we seem to be a bit clueless sometimes, really. But that's where we seem to be a bit better with Grix and different halfbacks and that sort of thing. I see, again, segueing onto different sports. I remember I watched, again, lockdown. I've watched anything and everything. I watched a program about Andy Cole when he scored goals for fun at Newcastle, absolute
Andy
loads of
Cole,
goals for
Andy
fun.
Cole,
Man United
Andy,
signed for
Andy
big money. I
Cole.
don't think he scored.
Scores a goal.
Andy Cole, yes. And I think for the first 10 games, he didn't score. He couldn't score at all. But I think it was Gary Pallister that said to him, like, "Oh, look, you're making chances. You're getting in a position to take those chances. We're getting in those positions, but we're just not being that clinical yet. It'll come. It will come." And I say, and I believe in it. But that's a really good question. That maybe we should put that on social media as kind of like a poll or something.
Well, that's what I'm asking
That'd be a really
everyone
good one.
watching. Are you confident in this?
Like, yeah. Right, let's get into these comments again. Paul Griffin, thank you very much, Paul, for joining us, and thank you for suggesting us as our league commentators. But I don't think they're that desperate. I don't think we'd want to embarrass ourselves that much. But if you thought Mick Gledhill was biased today, you would. If you thought Mick Gledhill was biased today, you've got no idea if me and Rick, if we got in a commentary box, you wouldn't know bias like it. How did Grant give a knock on to Robinson before their first try? 6 penalties and no team warning. Last play, Robinson was taken at the legs by Fleming after kicking. Should have been penalty towards 50 minutes out to win the game. Yeah, I just mentioned that. That was critical. I can't remember Robinson's knock on though. I have to watch that back. The teams get team
bounced off them and came back. There was another one with a Liam Harris charge.
Oh yeah,
that sort of unfairly went against us. They got a bit of the bounce of the ball. I mean, it's hard to comment on this sort of thought process of a referee, but maybe because they got pinned so much in the beginning, he was sort of reluctant to pile on or whatever.
Yeah, he's got to even the count up, hasn't he? And even though referees don't do that, got to look at match report and see an even penalty count. Yeah, did teams get team warnings now? I don't know because of this 6 again rule and stuff like that. I thought Bradford utilised that rule very well today. When before there would have been penalties where we'd have kicked downfield, utilised that short pitch, and really put pressure on. It did a lot of penalties where it was 6 again, where they can just, fair enough, they're facing more tackles, but they could restrict territory a lot easier doing that way. So I thought they were quite canny doing that. Swab back again. Wasn't all bad. He wasn't all bad. Let's say it's awful losing against Bradford and the manner of defeat and stuff, and given the context of the game and what happened and stuff. Yeah, it's heartbreaking and it's awful, and it's going to be a bit of pill to swallow. But it's not the end of the world. We're 50% win rate. One loss, one win. It's worse things happen at sea. Sean Ewell thinks Springer man of the match. Leroy cost us with that penalty. Yeah. Oh, who doesn't? Who doesn't? He thought Springer was man of the match. I thought he played very well when he came on. I thought changed the game along with Borough. Still not hitting nights that I was expecting, but again, that'll come with game time. Really, Leroy cost us with that penalty. Yeah. Again, you could pick anyone. Salty Costas for get, yeah. Salty Costas by getting sin binned, and you could say Springer Costas as well by shoulder charging and stuff. You get, yeah. I disagree with that completely. Really, if anything, Leroy was one of our best players. Took his try well. Swarbrick said, Amir Borough man of the match. Yeah, he's coming out of this game very well. Is Amir Borough,
so
not Amir Bro.
After what we've seen today, is it a conversation? Do we start him?
Yeah. Do you do the unthinkable and leave out Brandon Moore and have Curtis Davis on there again? It's. I think it's a valid conversation to have because Curtis Davis has
about whether he should have picked him as captain or not. I'm not saying it's early and we're going to ban him or whatever, but
yeah,
if Amir Burroughs out playing your starting hooker, your captain. Because he's captain, do you keep him in this squad for the sake of it, or do you do what's best for the team? Interesting selection. Questions, you know.
So yeah, very interesting dynamic. You could say that the captaincy is weighing heavy on him, so he can't play his natural game, which I think is the point that you made in the podcast when we discussed the captain. Really, guys, I don't think you can say that too early. But again, he's not. Today wasn't a more performance at all, really. But again, it's the same for a lot of players, really. Anthony Hildred kind of disagrees with Sean Newell there about Fleming about heart. He said he played with him and against him. 55th player when he turns up, he's fire. Needed to put off the weights last year, but got told otherwise. Yeah, one thing that Fleming does look a lot leaner this year than he has done previously. But
That's
yeah,
what happens when your cake shop's shut for a year.
Obviously he's doing well today. Apparently, people can't hear you, Rick.
Huh?
I think you need to hold the microphone up to you. Possibly, people can't hear you.
That's what happens when your cake shop's shut for a year.
I'm going through that. There's loads and loads of comments. I thank you so much for getting involved. But we're chat bollocks, but all trying to get through these comments as well. Showing you all again. Wrong and no penalty till Fleming decided to get involved. No, I disagree with that. I thought it was a charge and it contacts for the head and stuff. I don't agree with that rule personally, but letter of the law and all that, he's going to go. But no need for Fleming to get involved. However, if I were a Bradford fan, I'm like, why are you getting involved? Stupid. Another sim bin him. Jody Scrivener. Thank you very much for joining us again. Ami was very good today. Yeah, Ami Burrow. Yeah, he's loving it. Chris Kirsch, there's already been a drawn game in the championship, so yes, there must be no golden point. So strangely, Mick Glenn doesn't know what he's talking about. Apparently, Newcastle and Widnes was drawn. Yes, the game caller. Newcastle v Widnes apparently was drawn. So yeah. Anthony Hildred. Again, all these comments are flying. Who did?
Newcastle against Widnes.
No, they did. I think they scored to make it 30-all, right. And I think that were it. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Anthony Hildred said we nipped this in the bud. The next few games, his team will be the one. That's what you're hoping. That's again, it's like I said at the top of the show. You'd hope it's a learning curve, but we can't have too many learning curves because when you learn really. But it's hopefully it's a fast learning game. And speaking of that, obviously Toulouse next. They haven't played for a while because they had the bye this week. They had the forfeited game. Does that benefit us? Does that benefit them? We had the free week last week, and Grixie said that it was he wanted another game, and maybe that's where it affected us today. Do you think that it benefits us getting straight back on the horse and going at it again against a side that could potentially be undercut? Because Toulouse will have only played one game this year, and then with one pre-season friendly. Because they're not playing in the cup, are they?
Nope, neither.
Yeah. Just to interject, Rick, you need to hold the microphone to your mouth. I think that's what the issue is.
Yes. Is that better? I didn't think anyone gave a damn about what we're talking about, you know.
Hey, there's 20 odd people listening, so that's all good.
This is an outrage.
Diabolical.
Harrison in.
Where are we going? James Marsden has come again. Thanks again. To say that you were going to join the games, you're commenting a lot. Thank you anyway. I'm not worried at all. We've come a long way from the defensive rugby we've played for the past 5 years. When was the last time you saw a Halifax prop offload or dummy half scoot from the ruck? I'm happy. Frustrated but happy. #big. Yeah, as I say, we've got rugby. We've got rugby. That's the main thing. We've got a game to be passionate about. Like I've said to the people, I was watching with my sister and a few of our friends, and we will all say it's been such a long time since we've had that feeling of absolute dread and trepidation and nervousness and stuff. We're not being used to it, and I've missed it. And yeah, we lost today, but it's better than having no rugby at all. So yeah, bring it on. Halifax prop offload. Dan Murray with a little for a try.
You know, if that game was against anyone else, that result was against anyone else, I think most people would be able to take it. It's just because it's against them, that's all.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, definitely. Benjamin Fish, thanks for joining us again. Rick needs a mic stand or a tree. Mike is loud and clear, and Rick very quiet. I'd be loud and clear if I was stood 10 yards away from this microphone. I'm not quite.
It's Mike's computer that's looking us up. I get all the blame.
Whoa, hang on. The people have spoken. I am loud and clear. James Marsden's come back with another hashtag, believe in Griggs. Yeah, believe in Griggs. Believe in both of them. I think Simon Griggs is the man to take us forward as coach, and Scott Griggs is... Yeah, definitely stick with Griggs. Stand with Griggs and all that. That seems to be the on vogue saying at the moment. I stand with Griggs or whatever. Paul Griffin agrees with us with the discussion we're having. You think Amir showed his quality and will be pushing more close for a starting spot? No, again, which would you prefer? Would you think that if we are going to go with Borough and Moore, which one would you prefer to see starting? Do you think Borough should start and Moore on the bench, or vice versa? It's there. Sean Ewell is going straight in. He'd put Davis and Borough above Moore. Well, that it's a conversation to have, as I say. It's that is putting the cat amongst the pigeons. It's certainly a talking point. In terms of performance this year, I think you make a very, very good point. You've got to go more, and I think Grixie said in one of the infamous fans forums either last year or it must have been the year before. Last year didn't count. That there's players who play with credit, who've put a lot of yardage in the bank, a lot of deposits in the bank, who can use that when times go tough. And Brandon Moore has got oodles of credit. When was the last time you can say that Brandon Moore had a poor game at all? Never.
Do you remember the last summer when we all thought about the fact that we might lose him, and the anguish and the pain that went through the supporter base when he thought he might sign for Saints or Salford or Cass or whoever, and the fact that he came back to us afterwards, we were so delighted. He just had a slow start. He's the only player out of all of them that's played.
Exactly.
He's had a big responsibility put on his shoulders.
Do you think he's been a victim of his own success?
Maybe so. You've got to remember who's...
Do you think we expect too much from him?
Yeah. You've got to remember who he's measuring himself against. He's measuring himself against arguably the best Facts captain since either Carl Harrison or Chris Anderson. You know, Gary Mercer you could probably chuck in there, but it's a big task. It's an intimidating task for a young lad who's never led a team, who was we were all told doesn't lead through his word, he leads through his actions on the pitch. So when it goes against him, when he might be trying a bit too hard at times, or he's got another guy coming in, or we don't know, he might be carrying a knock. It could be anything. We can't lump on as captain at the first sign of something going wrong.
No, and again that's the point. Yeah. I knew what you meant.
There's a delay.
The point I'm making is that genuinely is. It's like Eurovision with me and Rick at the moment. The point I'm making is that because. Is he a victim of success because we know how good he is, and also how good he was for Huddersfield in Super League last year when he went and played for them, and he's made a slow and steady start this year. He's not had bad games at all, but he's not been as good as we thought he was. But again, you can mention 10 players who are exactly the same. He's just a focal point now. He's gone from, you mentioned Morel going and stuff, because experienced players have left who were the focal point of the team. He has become the focal point of the team now, and he's got a target on his back, rightly and wrongly, for fans to to one 10 out of 10 performances every week, and no player can give that. But again, it's different style of captaincy. You've got Scott Morrell, who you can hear from the stand every single game, and then you've got Chris Joynt, who's probably one of the best captain in Saints history, who's famous for hardly saying anything on the pitch. He led through actions, so there's loads of different ways you can lead a team. Just giving time. As I say, it is a new side. It's a brand new team. There's so many changes there. We've got to find out. Grixie won't know his best 13 yet.
That's it. We still don't know our best
the team don't know it. Yeah, which is a weird thing to say 2 months into a season, but again, it's such a strange season. No team really will know their best side. Look at York, for instance; they're chopping and changing all the time, and it's really affecting them. Forced and unforced changes. It's going to be a weird season, but that's why we love this game. We love this game. Richard Bedford, Beaksy. Love to have you on again. Didn't manage to watch the game. Sounded close. Long term, it's good for the league to have a strong Bradford, but just sad it was Vertusud. Us. Oh, come on, Beaksy. You should know better than that. The game doesn't need a strong Bradford. No one needs a strong Bradford. Need a strong Halifax. Need a strong Halifax and strong other clubs. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, awful. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Chris Kirsch has nailed his flag to the mast. Very rare that I'm speechless. Bob Fairbanks should be captain. Now, it'd have been my choice, but again, you've got to give the squad time to adapt. It must be difficult for, as you say, tough act to follow Morrell and Brandon Moore to take on those players, that leadership role, but. We'll see. Maybe Fairbank didn't want it. Maybe he was approached first and didn't want it. We don't know. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Simon Griggs has chosen Brandon Moore for our captain, and we've got to get behind him. We've got to get behind Brandon Moore, Simon Griggs, and the rest of the squad. Sean Ewell again. 6 again is terrible. We have 3 in a row. Should be a warning. 6 again allows teams to slow play down on the first and second without giving up meters. Yeah, I completely agree about that. I can see the plus point for it because it means that it stops people. It should be a deterrent for the wrestling round and ruck and stuff. But I think if it's 2 or 3 in quick succession or something, it should be automatic sin bin, so there should be something extra to go with it, really. So yeah, definitely. Sam, thanks for joining us. Can I just ask the question? You sure you can? Where are we going to play Tangata when Griggs puts him in the squad? Great question. It can play anywhere in that pack, can't it? Yeah, but apart from Mucker, it can play anywhere. It can play prop, loose, or second row. Personally, I'd have him in the middle, whether that's prop or loose. I think he's slightly wasted at second row. He needs to be up the middle.
I think him in the middle as
depends how he play, really. But I
they can get that link between him and Fairbank going again that him and Mitch had a bit of, soft hands at the line, short balls. We've had a lot of success with that over the years. So, But again, put him in second row, having that kind of lad running at second rows and centres, don't go miss, and then put him at loose forward, and he's got a pair of hands and feet on him. So. Yeah, again, N8 selections, conversations that I'm glad I'm not having because I don't have the answers.
Definitely. No. Yeah, no, for sure. Sean Ewell, again, he's loving it. He's Sean. Thank you very much for getting involved. It's great stuff, is this. Davis has outshone Moore last 2 games. Moore doesn't pass from the floor, stands up before he passes. Very critical. Very critical. I think Curtis Davis was incredibly unlucky to be dropped for today. Does that necessarily mean that Moore has played poor? I disagree. Again, I think you're being unfair on it. I think he's a victim of his own success at the moment. It's Brandon Moore. I'd give him time to get into his groove and hopefully smashes it against Toulouse. But yeah, I think he'd be slightly harsh on it. But he redeemed himself. Said it would also give Harris a contract extension for a young lad. Could be special for a halfback. Has an ability to turn the game on its head by taking the line on Ben backs. That is true, but we didn't necessarily see it today. it was crying out for him to take control and take the line on more, but it just didn't happen.
I don't think we got the platform.
Like I said
though.
after the Batley game, he's a quality. No, we didn't. We didn't. The forwards, it was such a back and forth, really. The first 20 minutes, our forwards were on fire, but then Bradford came back, and Unzungu and Spur were absolutely fantastic for them. But then when Borough and Springer came on, I thought they did well. But yeah, I completely Rick's going. I think nature takes his goal, but yeah, I'll rub it on anyway. Yeah, I thought I said after the Batley game that Liam Harris was a quality player and he didn't play well. Obviously, we saw against London what a great player he was. But I really rate him. Give him a contract extension after 3 games. It seems a bit slow. If he plays poor next week, you will be rating him like Brandon Moore and others like that. But hey ho, we'll see that. Benjamin Fish has come on. Thank you very much. Anyone else hate this new ball steal rule? Didn't really come into play today as such, but to constantly see people trying to strip the ball after the players leave the tackle, just annoying and detrimental to the game. Yes and no. I think it's good because it's a 1-on-1, but I think it's been manipulated in the way that it wasn't expected to be manipulated. I think teams are going to switch onto it very, very quickly because we've seen it in Super League. Leeds, I think, were fantastic at utilising it, but obviously referees have got to find out what's going on. They've got to be concentrating even more about what's going on in the ruck. So I don't necessarily hate it, but I just think it's too much meddling. Sean Yule, very, very connected. Asked Bob about the captaincy, said he had enough on his plate. Well, he's a farmer, isn't he? So yeah, I again got to give Brandon Moore a chance. Got to do his job. We know it'll come good for sure. Anthony Hildred again. Should have kept JT. JT. Who's JT?
JT. Jonathan Thurston.
Who's JT? JT. I wish we'd have signed Jonathan Thurston. JT. That's stumped me a little bit. JT.
JT. Please elaborate for us, please.
Yeah. Stephen missing. If you mean Steve Tyrer, if you mean Steve Tyrer, let us know. If you mean Steve Tyrer, then possibly it'd be nice to see him have the record. But again, if it's a difficult one with Tyra and Morel, and again, it's going to be every time we lose. This is going to be every single live stream, and every time we lose, it's going to be full of people saying, "Bring Matt Morel and Tyra." Yeah. We had. I'm going to say it again, and they won't mind me saying this at all. We had their best time. We had it. We've had it, and they'll accept it by the fact that Griggs wants to put his own stamp on the team, and Tyra going back to win suits him down to the ground. He's local to there. He's a part-time player as well. It suits him down to the ground. Does he love Halifax? Yes, but again, we've had his best years. Is he going to get any better? No. Is he still a quality player? Yes, but if it means that we're bringing Greg Worthington and others, then that's the way you've got to do it. All the best teams and all the best coaches redevelop teams. They change a squad, they revitalize every single time, and that. Look at Saints, for instance. They got rid of Ben Barber, whether it was their decision or not. And look what they did. They brought in Lachlan Coote, and they're developing Jack Wellesby and stuff. And look where they are now. Players come and go. And we had Tyra for the best part of 10 years. Morel the same. Did we miss Morel today? Partly. You mentioned straight away, Shaw mentioned straight away, Liam Harris. Liam Harris effectively has replaced Scott Morel wearing the same shirt. And he's saying give him a contract extension. It's because his running game. He's a fantastic running player. He's a little bit of organisation there as well. We miss Morel's experience. You can't buy experience to get us in the position to either win that game or draw the game. It's a conundrum, but yeah, this is what it's going to be, folks, for the rest of the season. Every single time we lose, Matt Morrell and Tyra. So just to kind of let you all know, and once we win, everyone's great. Right. Sean Newell again put Cat Monster Pigeons. Barber taking centre place for me. Most underrated player in the league. No stopping him from 10 metres out. He did get stopped from 10 metres out, unfortunately, today. He went for the scoot and got held up. But I completely agree with you. I think Barber is not just underrated. Yeah, but I just think he's more. I think he's more effective at centre. I've said that for a long time. He's great. He's great at second row, but I just think he's much more effective at centre. But yeah, that's what I think. Joshua Sutcliffe, thanks for joining us, Josh. People blaming Kevin, but I thought he had a strong game today, and I think he has improved far. Absolutely, I completely agree with you there. I think he's not just been our most improved, but I think he's been one of our players of the year so far. I think he's had a great season so far. Long may that continue. And Sean Newell again. I think we'll wrap it up because it's getting quite late. Some of us have got work in the morning, and our viewership is dwindling so far. And do we think Rawstorm he was worth signing? In fits and starts, yes. I think he'll know that he's not set the world alight. But again, if we have the chance, to sign Nick Rawstorm, you sign Nick Rawstorm. Well, he's a quality player. Again, he's hardly played for a year.
Yeah, the thing as well, it looks a really smart piece of business with Grixie going down now. Fullback cover, wing cover. You know, with signed Tangata back, everyone was delighted with that. But
yeah.
If we wouldn't have had Rawstorm, what we're doing for wing, centre, fullback?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I noticed that Tibbs was warming up with the squad today. I think he must have been 18th, 19th man or something. He could come in as cover, but we don't know. But he's a class player, isn't he? Is Nick Rawstorm, and he will come good. He's too good a player not to come good. Same with Worthington. They were just rusty today, and they'll know they were rusty because the professional people, they'll know that they didn't play well. But they will come good. They're both local lads, and they'll want to do well. Of course, yeah, definitely. And it's not what I said before. Would you throw Worthington into a game where Barber and Macomb were so good against London? It's a risk you got to take. And again, if you got Worthington and Ross on your side, the fit, you play them really. So yeah, that's one thing I'll say there. I think he's not set the world alight so far, but he'll come good. He's too good a player not to come good. And I think we will leave it there because, as I say, it's getting quite late. Sorry, we got late there, but we will put some stuff on social media about the questions that we raised. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Much appreciated sticking with us. And so we got probably just as much people, if not more people, join us for this episode that we have done previously. So maybe later is the way to go. But if not, I'll book off a date wait for next time, so I'm not asleep in there. But yes, sorry about the results. Sorry, it's not a celebratory live stream, but hey ho, that's rugby league sometimes. Thanks so much for joining us. We might do a normal podcast soon. See if we can do something. One thing I will say is that if you want to talk about more general rugby league stuff, let us know. If you want it to be a pure Halifax one, great stuff. But our rugby league fans, so we might throw that in. But until next time, he's been Rick Farrell when you heard him.
Sad.
Yeah, and I've been Mike Haig. Thanks so much to Eclipse Energy and Delivery sponsoring us. And as always, up the Panthers.